officially invented fire. I'm here to play with clay and talk. I'm not used to this, so this first thing might be kind of boring. Apologies. But I think as time goes on, it'll only get funner. Because in the future, I'll probably show like my nipples or something. I really want to wear like some overalls, some nice denim overalls with no shirt, and I'll have it kind of just perfectly, which leads me to something I need to talk about. I play beach volleyball every week, and I saw a guy with his nipples pierced walking around shirtless. I'm not that judgmental of a guy, but I was a little like, just like, we're going to be making a jack-o'-lantern. I think in the future I'm going to get more complex, and I might make a whole skeleton. I might make like the Roman cathedral. I think in the future what I really want to make is the 16th chapel. That's what they call it, right? The Sistine Chapel. But really my goal here is to make a website where I have all of my sculptures, all my creations, and have everything for sale on there. And I think it'd be cool to auction it, set the minimum at like $5 or whatever. And I think the Gypsy Rose thing, I think I will set that at like $2,000 probably would be the minimum that I'd let that go for. I'm gonna want to keep some things. Probably let it go for $2,000 because that's kind of like a historical artifact. You wouldn't give away the Mona Lisa for $50. Brings me to another thing. I think I'm gonna make Mona Lisa eventually, and we'll see which one ends up being worth more: the real Mona Lisa, the painting, or the 3D clay statue version. What I will be doing is I'm gonna take this stuff to a flamer. For those of you that don't know how ceramic shit works, like I'm gonna take it to and I failed ceramics, by the way, or pottery, whatever I failed it. But I'm gonna take it to a flamer place, hardly know her, where you paint it whatever color you want, and then you do this thing called glazing. So you glaze it, and that basically makes it so when they put it in this oven, it turns glassy and like it becomes very sturdy. So I'm gonna be doing that with all this stuff before I set up my website, and I'm probably not gonna set up the website for, probably a while. I really want to start a hole in the wall pizza place / strip club. Just kidding. There won't be strippers, but there will be midgets. I'm going to start and so I plan on doing all that stuff. And I plan on saying, you know what I mean? Man, we're going to have to make this like a little more than stupid. We're just reshaping it, but I have a ball so far. Some people don't have balls, but on TikTok the other day, I saw a lot of people hating on dodgeball. I think hating on dodgeball is a mistake. And I'm going to tell you why for a few different reasons. Number one, people hating on dodgeball. Listen, I think some of the people that are probably playing dodgeball are probably school shooters. So I think, if they are playing a sport, it'd probably be dodgeball. But I think the other reason for it is dodgeball is like peak athleticism. Think about the athletes who are at the top of their game. You've got LeBron James, Kamara, Usman, Bonnie Blue. Like, these people are just crazy athletes. They're crazy athletic. Every single one of them would suck at dodgeball, especially Bonnie Blue. You think Bonnie Blue dodges balls? No, she doesn't. Her entire mission in life is catching balls in her mouth and everywhere else. All right, first episode and we're already off to a strong start. Something I really wanted to talk about because it was like my first video was getting fired. Supposedly, I was fired for financial reasons, so I was technically laid off. I think what it was is they were actually firing me because I did something wrong. They didn't want to admit that they were snooping through my computer. And it wasn't porn. Not this time. I was working a 9-to-5 job, and was writing a screenplay, and the screenplay had nothing to do with the company directly that I was working for. But there was a job, a 9-to-5 job company involved in what I was writing because it was like a side plot or whatever. So I was writing about where I was working, because where I was working, frankly, was kind of a joke. And I would write every day, right before lunch, probably for 2 hours. So pretty much the second I would come into work. And I made the rookie mistake of using the real names of the people I was working with. And I was really descriptive about who they were. Like there was Jack, who was a chubby, frumpy little guy. And I'm not that tall myself, but he was smaller, little guy with a frumpy clown look. And by the way, a very nice guy, but fuck him. But the top of his head, and he was a couple of years older than me, but the top of his head was like fully gone of hair, not a single thing up there. But he would take his hair and he would do that with it to kind of try and make like an afro type of thing and like hide, and it was just very obvious. And so I thought that was kind of goofy, and I would never say this to his face because that's so rude. But very shy, sweet boy with, I think, a kind of evil side, because he didn't, like I said, he didn't text me when I got fired, and I thought he would. I thought he'd be like, dude, because we always got along. And that's why I'm saying this now, is because I think. And then there was Jackie, who was a witch. And then there was her brother, who was a wannabe rock star fat gay guy. And I'm not even, this isn't even an insult. I'm not saying that as an insult. Like, that's just what he was. There's nothing wrong with that, other than the wannabe rock star part, probably. And then there was the CEO, Jake, who had fucking bipolar, like really bad bipolar, just like, not even bipolar. He had like multiple personality disorder. That guy was nuts. And he thought I was really funny. And so that was cool. And that's why I thought I was safe. I was like, oh, I'm safe in this job. CEO loves me. He laughs every time I say something. But he hired me, like gave me pretty much exactly the salary and everything that I asked for. There was no even negotiation. It was like, cool, we want you. Come work for us. Anyways, when I was writing about this stuff, normally I would close my laptop and then I'd go to lunch. And I'd be at lunch for an hour and a half because I would sit in my car and I would just like be edging in there for an hour and a half while I'm like eating a protein bar. Really just taking it down, And I come back from lunch and my laptop's open and it's also not on sleep. Like it is open and the script is right there. And I was like, and then I was fired 2 weeks later. So, but the place really was like such a damn joke. There's this guy there. His name is Jason. Very big Latinx guy. And he was also sick pervert too. But one day I come into work, it's like I roll in at like 9:45 a.m. and I just see him standing there with a Ziploc bag about this big, size of my whole torso, it's filled to the brim with shrimp. And I was just like, dude, a gallon of butter at the bottom of the bag. And he's just sitting there. It's fully morning time. Like a lot of people in the world haven't even eaten breakfast yet. And he's just sitting there eating the shrimp. And he's like biting the shrimp off and throwing the shrimp tail back in the bag. And I'm just like, dude, and I was recording him. I still have the video actually. And I was sending it around. Maybe that has something to do with me getting fired too. But he was just like doing that. Like what are you fucking doing? It's not nowhere near lunch. And it just smells blatantly like shrimp in there. And I hate seafood. Like it just smells like damn shrimp. Smells like such seafood in there. And he was like, I'm eating shrimp. And I was like, yeah, I know that, but why? Shrugged it off like it was normal. I'm gonna make him one big triangle eye. So he's gonna be a Cyclops jack-o'-lantern. That's gonna be sick. That's gonna be so sick. When I was officially out of there, and like fast forward like a day or two, and I had like calmed down about the financial aspect of things, I'm kind of curving the stem because I wanted to look like how killer whales look when they're in captivity. I think that's the goal for this Jacko. But yeah, I left that shithole and I've had to never take another 9-to-5 job ever again. This is how it works. ladies and gentlemen. You are watching. Not only do you get to watch the sausage being made, but you get to watch it get sucked. You get to watch it getting eaten. You get to watch it, get consumed and pass through my digestive system. Like, you are watching everything about the sausage right now. But eventually I will have my own refrigerator. I will have my own... I don't even have roommates, so I guess technically, but I'm going to own it. It's going to be mine. It's going to be my money because it's going to be in a house and not in this apartment. It'll be my fridge. This is like actually gutting a real pumpkin. This is crazy. I guess this is kind of like Illuminati because it's just a triangle. But back to this club idea, because I love this idea, and it'll be like a venue for everything except for drag shows. And I'm not saying that because I'm a drag phobe or whatever. I'm saying that because it's just not my thing at all, which if you want to call that drag phobic, go for it. It's probably, call it whatever you want. I don't know. But it's just like, you know how some people don't like battery acid? That's like what a drag show is to me. Let me just rephrase that because I think I could probably make my point better. Some people don't like Mountain Dew. A drag show to me is like someone who doesn't like Mountain Dew, and maybe it's just like my internal fear of like, man, I just grew up hating people dressing up as scary stuff. And for Halloween, I dressed up as a zombie, and all I had was a ripped apart white t-shirt, and it was like 40 degrees outside. It was like freezing. And I remember being so embarrassed because I would go up to every doorstep with my buddies who were dressed up as like full costumes, but my parents didn't want to buy me a costume. So that was all I had to work with. And I was so embarrassed because every doorstep we went up to, people who owned the house would be like, wow, great costumes. And then they would look at me in the back and they'd be like, what are you? And I eventually just like stopped even responding. Like they probably thought I was like mute or something because I just like didn't want to say anything. I was saying zombie and then people would be like, okay, sure. And that's my villain arc, and I think that's why I hate drag shows. Some might call this a drag show because it is dragging. See that? We might have a finished product ready. It's also sick? I'm a Canadian citizen, and I've never lived there. And I wish I had a cooler citizenship like Australia, or I think a Cuban citizenship would be probably honestly not that hard to get. Thank you so much for watching this. Again, I'm just really nervous and scared right now, and so this will get better as time goes on. And I think my first guest I want to have on, because I think it'll really help tell my story, is the guy who circumcised me. I don't know who he is, but I'm gonna find out for you guys. I'm gonna find out who circumcised me. This is gonna be like Bob Ross meets clay sculpting meets like a... Anyways, that'll do it. I'm gonna do this again next week.